Today, we're going to be creating a chase game in Scratch. Our goal is to make a game where a character chases another sprite in order to score points. Before we start, I want to show you the way that our stage is set up. The stage creates something that's called a coordinate grid system that uses X and Y access lines to help determine the location of a sprite or a character. When we want to move our character from left to right, we need to change X. If we want our character to move up and down, we need to change Y. We will be using X and Y today to help code our character, so keep this grid in mind as you are working. Now it's time to look at our project card and follow the steps in order to create our game. You can choose to use the same sprites and backgrounds as the example, or you can change it up. Just be sure to follow all the same steps in order to make sure that your game works properly. If we look at our project card, we are going to code our character to move left, right, up, and down using our arrow keys. Then we're going to code them to chase a star or another sprite that we choose. Next, we're going to be adding sound and a score. And then it's time to create another level and a victory message. Time to start our project. Once we get to our CS First dashboard, we need to click on the blue plus sign and then the New Project button. We always need to name our projects first. Go up to the project name box and delete where it says untitled and a number. Type chase game hyphen and then your first name. Now let's make a game. First, we need to choose a backdrop. We're going to go to our choose a backdrop button. You can either search the categories, search the whole library by scrolling down, or search for something specific using the search bar. I'm going to search for something specific. I like this underwater scene. I'm going to click on it, and that's going to add it to my stage. Next, we need to pick our main character that's going to be the chasing sprite. I do not want the Scratch Cat in there, so I'm going to click on the trash can. And now I'm going to go to the Choose a Sprite button, and I'm going to search for an octopus. I'm going to click on them to add them to my scene. So now we're going to code our main character to move using the arrow keys. So X is the position on the stage going left and right. If we want our character to move to the right, we need X to be a positive number, and to make them move left, we need that to be a negative number. I'm going to make sure that my main character is selected, and now I'm going to use my project card to add the code. So first we need to go to the events block, and I'm going to drag out a when spacebar is clicked, but instead of spacebar, I'm going to change it to right arrow. Then I'm going to drag out another one underneath of that, and instead of right arrow, I'm going to put left arrow. Then I'm going to go to my motion blocks. I'm going to scroll until I see change X by 10, and for right, I need it to stay that positive 10. Then I'm going to drag that same block, change X by 10, but to move left, I'm going to click on it and change it to negative 10. Then, when I click on the right and left arrows, you will see your main character move. Now it's time to code the up and down arrow keys. Remember, the Y axis is what allows our character to move up and down. To move up, Y needs to be positive. To move down, we need Y to be negative. Still making sure I have my main character selected, I'm going to go back to my events block. I'm going to drag out two more when space key is pressed. And I'm going to change the first one to up arrow and the next one to down arrow. Now I'm going to go to the motion blocks, and I'm going to scroll down till I see the change Y by 10. For up, it's going to stay 10. For down, we're going to drag out our change Y by 10, but I'm going to change the 10 to negative 10. Now when I move my up and down arrows, the octopus moves. Now that our main character moves, we need to code the sprite that they're going to chase. Choose a sprite that makes sense in your scene. Go to the Choose a Sprite button. Click on it once you find the one you like. Make sure you have your new sprite selected. Then we're going to go to the events block. When the green flag is clicked, we're going to go to the control block, find the forever loop, and then go to the motion block and find the glide 1 second to random position block. Now when I click on the green flag, we will see that our smaller sprite moves randomly around our stage. Main character to make a sound whenever they touch the sprite they are chasing so that the player knows that they get a point. Make sure to select your main character sprite and go to the Sounds tab. We're then going to choose a sound from the sound library. To listen to a sound, hover over it. You can go to the Effects tab if you need some ideas. A magic spell sound, so I'm going to click on it. And now I'm going to go back to my Code tab. I'm going to go to my Events block, and I'm still going to make sure that my main character is coded. Underneath of my arrow keys code, I'm going to drag the when green flag is pressed. Go to the control block, find the forever loop. Then I'm going to go to the if then block and drag that inside of the forever loop. I'm then going to go to the sensing blocks, and I'm going to drag out the if touching. Now instead of mouse pointer, I want to select my smaller sprite. So mine is a crystal, so that's why I selected crystal. And when it touches the crystal, I want it to play a sound. So I'm going to go to sound, and I'm going to drag out play, and you'll see that it already says magic spell. Now it's time to test it out. I'm going to click the flag, and every time it touches my octopus, it makes a noise. Now that our player knows when they get a point, we need to show them how many points they're getting. To do this, we're going to add a score to the stage. Make sure you still have your main character selected. We're going to go to the variables blocks, and we're going to click make a variable. When it tells you to name the variable, you're going to name it score and then select OK. Now you're going to see a score in the corner. Now it's time to add this to our code. I'm going to drag out the set block, and I'm going to drag it right below the flag. And instead of my variable, I'm going to change it to score so that when I click the flag, the score automatically goes to 0. Then I'm going to drag out my change my variable underneath, right above the sound, the play sound block, and I'm going to make sure that that says score again. Now when I click the flag, you're going to see that every time my characters touch, my score goes up. When I click stop, it'll stop. When I click the flag, it goes back to 0. Time to get fancy. We're going to make another level once the player scores 10 points. To do this, we first need to choose a second backdrop. I'm going to go down to my choose a backdrop button and find the one I like. Once I find the one I like, I'm going to click on it, and that's going to add it to my stage. Now, I need to make sure that my main character is selected, and I'm going to go to the events block. I'm going to drag out when the green flag is pressed. Then I'm going to go to my looks block, and I'm going to do switch backdrop to underwater 2, because when the green flag is pressed, I want it to start with my first underwater backdrop. Then I'm going to go to the control block, and I'm going to find the wait until block. And I'm going to drag that under the switch backdrop. Then I'm going to go to the operators block, and I'm going to find the one that says equals. So it has a 0 equals 50. I'm going to drag that in next to wait until. Then I'm going to go to my variables tab. I'm going to drag out my score variable and put it in that open hole. And instead of 50, I want to change it to 10. Then after my player scores 10 points, we're going to go to the looks block. We're going to do switch backdrop 2, and instead of underwater 2, I want it to go to my second backdrop. So mine is nebula. Then I'm going to go to my events block, and when my backdrop switches to my second background, so my nebula, then I'm going to have it play a sound. And I want to find the win sound. So I'm going to go to my sounds block. I'm going to go to my choose a sound, search for win. Ooh, I like triumph better. So I'm going to click triumph. I'm going to go back to my code. So now underneath of my switch backdrop to, I'm going to do play sound triumph until done. Now it's time to start. I'm going to click the flag. When I get to 10, let's see what happens. Here we go. And it changes. Finally, it's time to add a message that tells the player that they've gone to the next level of the game. To do this, we're going to create a custom sprite. We're going to go down to the Choose a Sprite button, and instead of clicking on it, we're going to hover over it and then go up to the paintbrush. Then we're going to use the text tool to write a message like level up. So I'm going to click on the T, and then I'm going to click inside my space, and I'm going to type level up. Now you can change the font, color, size, and style of your font if you'd like. I want to make mine bigger. I'm going to go to my arrow block, and that's going to give me the ability to make it bigger. And you're going to see an example of it on the stage. If you want to edit it, you just double click. Let's say I want to add an exclamation point to the end. I can do that. I'm going to change the font. I want it to be pixel since it's a video game. And I want to choose a color that really makes it stand out. So I'm going to go to the fill block. Let's see. Ooh, I like that. So now I'm going to go back to the code tab. I can drag my sprite where I want it to appear on the stage. I'm going to have it appear at the bottom because I think that'd be a really great place. I want to make it so that the whole sprite can be seen. And now I'm going to make sure that I have my level up sprite selected. I'm going to go to the events block when green flag is pressed. And then I'm going to go to the looks block. And I want to find the hide block. The reason I want to do this is so that you cannot see this sprite at the very beginning of the game. I only want it to appear once the player has gone up a level. So I want to go to the events block. When the backdrop switches to my second backdrop, so mine is nebula, then I want to go to my looks block. I want to find the show button. Then I'm going to have it wait. So I need to go to the control, wait. Instead of 1 second, I'm going to change it to 2 seconds. And then I'm going to have it hide itself again so that the player can continue to earn points. So I'm going to drag hide. All right, let's test it out and see how it goes. Okay, here we go. And now I have a completed game.